Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Well, this happened when I was 14. I'm 16 now. Since I was 12, I have been mowing lawns and raking leaves to get money to buy a mountain bike. After 2 years of doing this, I managed to get more than enough money to buy the bike and carbon fiber and carbon steel bike lock. This is important later. After I bought the bike and accessories, I headed home. I wanted to ride the bike so bad, but it had been raining for the past months, so I could not go. Finally, when it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit, United States folks, I decided to go to the amenity center to play basketball. I get to the court and park my bike and chain it up. The tennis court is next to the basketball court, and the walls were the cage walls with a lot of big holes. I chained my bike in such a way it looks like it's not even locked up, and if anyone tries to take it, then it will be a couple of inches before they got bucked off the bike. I got to play basketball, and 30 minutes later, the entitled mother and kid show up. The entitled kid looked to be about 9. He asks his mother if he could have my bike, and she comes up and says, "Excuse me, sir, is this your bike?" I replied, "Yes, ma'am, that is my bike." She says, "Okay," and tells her kid to go ahead and ride it. I was like, "Go ahead, but if he does, he will be injured." She was like, "There is no lock, so it's his." Mind you, I paid $500 plus for this bike, and it took me 2 years to save up the money. The entitled kid rides the bike, then the bike flipped. He fell onto the mud and was muddy. My bike was fine, and the entitled mother was screaming at me because my precious child just got hurt and is muddy. You're gonna pay for this. I quickly undo the chain and speed home. She was following me, so I tried to get her off my tail. After about 10 minutes, I went home and decided to put my bike in the backyard so she would not see it and try to steal it again. 30 minutes later, my dad saw a lady in our backyard with a kid trying to steal my bike. It was the entitled mother and the kid. He told me this, and I called the cops. They arrived in like 2 minutes and arrested them for trespassing and theft. Never did I encounter Karen ever again. So I work as a security officer or door greeter at a huge retailer. When I'm working, I have to stand at the door and check receipts, mark returns, and of course greet customers. And in the years of 2020 and 2022, that has shifted to counting customers and handing out masks. I don't have any major stories, but I have a few snippets, though I'm not sure if some of them are exactly how to work here, lady. Important information to include: I wear a security uniform complete with a police-style badge, and it's a completely different color than anything the store associates wear. Pretty early on, when I didn't know the store super well, I got a lot of questions about where items in the store were. Of course, having just started and being stationed exclusively at the front door, I was unable to help much. I tried to point people in the right direction usually, but that wasn't about it. Then one day, as I'm marking a ton of returns, due to some incidents, we were told that we needed to mark every single item being returned rather than just marking how many returns the customer had. I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned to see this older lady who seems to have been waiting. I tell her, "I'm almost done with these returns and I can try to help you." I turn back to the return lady and keep writing down product codes and stickering items. I get another tab with an ahem. I repeat the thing I said before and keep going. I have like 2 things left, and the lady taps me again and says, "I need you to show me where the bidding is." I turn and point real quick to the area of the store it's in, and tell her it's over there. I finish up the stickers, and a return lady leaves. I turn to find the old lady still there. I say, "Is there something else I can help you with?" "Yes, I need you to take me to the bidding." I replied, "I'm sorry, I'm security, and I have to stay up here at the front." She huffs and says something like, "Well, I need you to take me because I won't be able to find it on my own." I was really puzzled by this because I had already directed her in the right direction, and there was a big sign above it that literally said, "Bidding." So I responded in kind and pointed again, saying, It's right under that sign that says bedding. I can't leave the front, so if you need more help, you'll need to find someone back there that can help you." She just huffed again and walked off. Later on, I had been put in a garden part of the store some time later, and I'm standing by the door out there. The only people by the door at the time were me and the cashier, who was always really quiet. He smiled and nodded a bit, but he was so quiet I had to wonder if he spoke at all or if he spoke a different language or something. He was a nice enough guy though, but certainly not a conversationalist, and that's the main point here. Some lady came from inside the store and walked right up to me with purpose in her step. She says, "I'm looking for a certain weak killer. Can you help me find it?" I respond by saying, "I'm not really sure where it is, but I think it's on the inside aisles of the garden center. I can try to call a garden center employee to help." She said, "Why don't you know where it is?" To this, I reply, "I am just security, ma'am, out of work for the store." She huffed loudly and walked over to the cashier. He wouldn't have known either. He was just a front-end guy who got stuck back here, but she didn't ask him about that. She pointed at me and loudly said, "What does that guy even do here?" When she got little or no response, she just stormed off. Lastly, we had this manager. For this, I will call him Ken. He had a habit to pull in associates off their own jobs to help him with whatever he needed help with. His classic line was, "Well, you look like you could use something to do. How about you do this or that?" Most associates would listen to Ken even when it meant abandoning their own jobs they had been told to do by other managers, because he was just below the store manager on the hierarchy. When I was out in the garden, he would try to get me to move pallets all the time. I had heard other associates complain about him, so even though I honestly would have loved moving pallets while it was late and super slow, I always refused. He was always annoyed and cited that I wasn't doing anything else anyway, but he knew he couldn't touch me. It always made my day when he got all annoyed because of my response, "Sorry sir, I am here to guard the door. I cannot go and abandon my post or my manager will have me removed." I would then watch Ken move the pallets himself because he couldn't organize his own guys to do it before they went home. All the while listening to a podcast in my ear and doing absolutely nothing. So, yesterday I was told by my dad to stop by his work and change my tires from winter to summer ones. I arrived just when they were having lunch, so maybe that's why things had to come to the point they came. I loaded the tires and tools on a cart and moved it closer to my car. Around 5 minutes later, a car I have never seen arrived, and it looked really strange because it was a typical family BMW SUV with a female coming out of it. The parking space for customers is in front of my dad's work, not behind it, so I'm looking at her, wondering what she's going to do. When she came close enough to me, she could hear my car radio blasting, so she gestured to lower the volume. So that's exactly what I did. And the conversation went like this: "Can I help you?" "Yes, when can I come and pick my car up?" Me not knowing she thinks I'm an auto shop. "I don't know, whenever you want, I guess." "Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna go to Tesco and buy some stuff. I will be back in 15 minutes. Then she proceeds to leave the keys on my cart and walks off. By now, I'm kinda confused about what she wants from me. I assumed she wanted me to look after her car because it's quite common that other people bump their doors into your car and just leave. So I didn't take that as a problem since it was parked a few meters from me. After maybe 30 minutes, she comes back with 2 bags. "Are the tires changed?" "What tires?" "Tires of my car, of course. Have you changed them already?" For clarification, I can get easily pissed off if people talk to me like I'm some slave of theirs, but it takes a lot more to make me lose it. "Why the hell would I change your tires?" "Because you already pulled tires out of your shop and have the tools out too, so that means you're open for business." Now I have realized what is going on. I say, "Do I look like I'm an auto shop?" And now Karen made a big mistake. "Are you deaf or what, fat moron? You have tools and tires out on a cart, so shut up and change my tires." And this is a point when I snapped. Let me just tell you that Czech language is very rich in swear words and we can make a swear almost out of any word, so the translation might not be 100% precise. I tell her, You sack of trash. Who do you think you are, or who do you think you're talking to? You better get out of here before I shove the jack right where the sun doesn't shine. How dare you speak to me like that? You're lucky my husband isn't with me. Otherwise, he will beat you up. Now get to changing my tires before I slap your ugly face. Now my dad is coming out from the back door because, well, you wouldn't hear us screaming only if you were deaf. What is going on? He asks. Your employee is refusing to change my tires and is being very rude and disrespectful to me. He's not our employee. We don't change tires. What are you doing back here anyway? I'm here to get my tires changed because my stupid husband doesn't know how. Interesting how her husband went from beating me up to not being able to change stupid tires. That tells her, we are not an auto shop, so shut your mouth and leave our parking yard. So you are rude, disrespectful, and confusing me instead of telling me that you're not an auto shop? At this point, I saw her getting ready to slap me. So I did the most simple and probably the best thing I could do. I just raised my hand so when she was already in motion of hitting me, she hit the pipe in my hand. After that, she screamed in pain and ran to her car and just drove off. When she was backing up, I got a look on her plates. Unsurprisingly, she was from Prague. And people from Prague usually get lost in small cities or villages. When my dad asked what that was, I just answered, just another jerk from Prague, and we ended up laughing about it. I used to work for a large multinational in a one-man department. The company was responsible for delivering the largest project that the country's natural resources company had to offer. This is billions in revenues and tens of millions of dollars of profits every year. My department was created for me. I was required in the project, but the project manager knew me from before and just wanted to keep me in a team. So, he created this department and position. Fast forward 3.5 years and the project manager is now retiring, and so is his deputy. His deputy is the one who handles all commercial negotiations. Before the project manager leaves and a new one comes in, he nominates me as a deputy project manager. Enter the new project manager, or as I like to call him, spineless, racist jerk. The guy hated decisions. He was running a project with thousands of personnel and he would go weeks without a single decision. Every question from the 27 department heads would be sent to some committee for deliberations and demise. One by one, the department heads started avoiding him and coming to me for decisions. I had a very tough time balancing progress with perceived sabotage. I would usually suggest the decision to the jerk before he would announce it and take the credit. Things were moving and I was only interested in doing a great job at my new position and making record profits for the company. A year working with a jerk, it is time for my first appraisal. The appraisal goes as planned, exceeded expectations, and numbers were up, nothing to complain about. This meant I would get my annual bonus and a measly salary increment. Once the project manager appraises his report, they do the same with theirs, except that I see that one of my reports had his appraisal done before I talked to him. Apparently the jerk had done his appraisal without me in a loop. Confused, I approached that jerk about this and he wouldn't talk about it. He would start talking tangentially as soon as I asked a pointed question. Ultimately, I ran out of patience and time. I went to HR and asked if this was usual. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Not only did HR confirm this to be the first they had ever heard of this, and they started connecting the dots for me. Apparently my direct report and the jerk hail from the same county in a kingdom which is anything but united. I knew they were countrymen, but they were actually neighbors. Apparently the jerk has been talking around that my nationality should not be allowed to handle so much money and power, that it was their type's God-given right to rule over us. This referred to my origin country being exploited by his country in the past. This pissed me off, but it was all hearsay at this time. However, a couple of weeks passed by and I was notified by HR that based on my performance, I will not get a raise this year and will only get 25% of my bonus. I was enraged and went to the jerk to understand what happened. He wasn't there. I went to HR and they have worked with me for 5+ years now, so they know me and trust me. They reveal that the jerk had made a decision to move 24,000 of what I would have received over to my report, and thus the appraisal rating and follow-up monetary decision. Given this, I was very furious, and I called up the jerk's boss in a different continent. To her credit, she gave me her ear and then said she will talk to him about this and call me back. She never did. But the next day, the jerk calls me and says that I should have talked to him first before calling the boss. He also implies that he had full authority over this decision and his boss couldn't do anything because she was too busy. As soon as he had said this, I said that I quit and won't be coming in again. I put in my papers immediately and wrote that I will pay in for my notice periods if need be. I also left the company phone and laptop at the desk and drove out. Next day morning, I left the country. When I left, we were in the middle of negotiating a contract variation that would have given us $2.5 million extra that year. Pure profit. All discussions were done and it only needed the client's signature. Since we were very sure of it, it was reported in our numbers as well. Fast forward 3 months, I get a call from the jerk's boss begging me to come back. Apparently, they had fired that jerk due to missing the profits, as the client did not sign the variation order, which was time sensitive. They wanted me to come back as deputy PM. I told her that I will call her back. And guess what? I never did. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.